Not only. Yeah.
Greetings, everyone. Yeah, just give me a moment. I'm just admitting everyone. Okay, this is being live streamed also to people who right now do not have Zoom. New people. Okay. Greetings to all of you. Pranams. It's been a while. We were all a little busy in this Tirunamalai retreat. Are you able to hear me clear? Okay, just give me a moment because I'm just sending the links. Okay. I'm audible, Malaji. Yeah, if you're not able to hear, you need to just re-log in. That's it. So yeah, it's been a hectic week, and I just returned today morning and today afternoon. So I was even in the journey. I was in the train contemplating and working on something that we can go a little deeper on, because I learned a lot of things in this particular retreat, and then those things came to me that I should emphasize a little more on the details so that we have a deepening journey. And for that, I urgently thought that I'll keep this webinar, which is going to be on this Monday, which is called Learn and Master Shifting into Awareness. The basics itself, not exactly the basics, but the whole practice. We are going to be doing the practice right from step one. Because what happened at this seminar was, this retreat was, and this was not full-fledged retreat because it was a part of July retreat only. We got just split up because many people were not able to come in July. So they were requesting 5, 6 of them in June. And that's how I just split the group and I said, okay, how many ever can come. So we had 9, 10 people. And of course, day one, we had the Westerners. One second. There are many in line. I didn't see. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so I think all are joined in here. Able to hear Malaji now? Okay. Greetings to all of you. Been long. Nice to see all of you. Uh, we have around 40 people here. That's nice. So I was saying, this whole batch got just split up. We were around 25 of us in July. Some wanted to come in June, and that's how we split it up. And around 10 came, 9 of them precisely came in June. So the rest are coming in July. We have around 18 people who have registered now for the July. So it's going to be a little big, but the whole thing is there, arrangement is there, and around 25 people can be comfortably seated. So that's fine. And this time we had the foreigners also, Westerners were there. They were 8 of them who came. And day one, we had a session with them, a half day. So I had a half day session with all the foreigners, some of them from Canada, US, Holland. Many of them were seniors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them were very seniors, and they are people who are linked to Ramanashram. And they are all followers of Bhagwan Ramana. So it was a privilege to have all of them very mature souls. And I didn't have to talk much about the higher tattvas, but basically they were interested in the awareness thing, and it clicked. So the feedback was very good that I got. But I learned a lot of things there also on being a little precise on what they are seeking. And they are two different minds. The Indians are thinking differently. Westerners are thinking differently. That's what I got it. Though one of the gentlemen just forgot his water bottle, and then he had to come the next day to pick his water bottle. And I was told when they are sitting for the Westerners are sitting for the sessions, that not more than 2 hours they can have the attention span. That's what I was told. But it went to close to about 5 hours with their permission, of course. And we had lunch and we continued and all those things. So we had a good experience because most of them were aged, almost like 70 plus. They're very seniors, as I told you. Some of them even like they came to Tirunamalai in 70s. And 3 of them have been doing Vipassana for 30, almost 70, from 70s. Vipassana and self-inquiry is what they were doing into. And some of them were devotees of Papaji. Papaji, who was Bhagwan Ramana's disciple. So few of them were in Lucknow, and after Papaji passed away, they came back here. So it was a nice, mature, divine group. And I got to interact with them multiple times, even during this whole 4-5 days. Accidentally meeting them at stores or Orosh and all that, and even having satsangs there another 5 hours, even after the batch was over. And another day I spent with them. And one gentleman forgot his water bottle and came to pick it up while the retreat was going on. And he's one of the most senior. And he asked if he can join, and he sat in the whole session. He was there even till late evening, like almost 8 o'clock. And he enjoyed the whole session. And very beautiful people. Most of them are like bloomed so much into silent absorption. They're not into too many other things, but they are seeking to deepen their experiences and all that. And yes, they got good connections. They got the gaps. What I'm often told about the gaps. There are gaps in our practices in spirituality. People are sometimes not connected due to the gaps. They know everything is available, but somewhere some fill in the blanks is needed. And I was happy to hear that they were getting it from these sessions. But when we began the 3-day session uh, for the Indian group, Indian in the sense there were people from New Zealand also who were there for the retreat. But when we began together, a whole day I spent explaining deepening the experience or trying to deepen the experience the first day. But by first day in the evening, a little girl, 19-year-old Kali, my friend's daughter, she was also there. And she asked me in the evening, what is awareness? That is the time I got a thing back, because all these past 3 years, or 3 years, 2 years, I have been with people who are very common, and we have been walking the path together. And we have been only deepening and finding different arenas and perspectives to get deeper or to unclutter the mind. So the journey has always been with all of you who are very regular. People still joining. So all of you have been regular, and I've been with all of you moving on this path. I never realized so much time went and we were deepening, and I forgot that there are new people joining in. It never came to my attention. And in this batch, we had a couple of new people, especially those who are not from any path. And that was the best that I saw in this was in this batch was around 4 5 of them were pathless. So they didn't have any path, they didn't have any guru, they were very new. And this is precisely what I am looking forward to always. My keen interest is working on people who don't have any backgrounds. It doesn't mean I'm not interested in the others. The only reason being, it's easy for them to get deepen their experiences, because when you carry a lot of learning from previous history of records, it's very difficult, because here we are all in the process of unlearning. What we are doing here, shifting into awareness, is nothing but unlearning. So we are shedding off a lot of things, and shedding off is where the path takes you towards. See the word emptiness. You cannot be filled. See the word nothingness. You cannot be even something there. So it's all about letting go of things that don't hold you in the highest good. So we are not learning anything new. We are not bringing any new philosophies or anything. We are only cross-referring these truths with higher scriptures, because those scriptures give us a guarantee of what we are talking. And I use most of the time the scriptures purposely, because I know the things I talk is very new to people, and they might not understand it. Not to the people who don't have any backgrounds, but to the people who have a lot of backgrounds in spirituality, it might confuse them, because they are filled with a lot of belief systems and conditioning. They have been conditioned in a certain way. And here we had shedding all these inhibitions which actually prevent you from going deep within. And I can see this journey very clearly, because I have been in multiple uh, places and paths and my masters. So from there I can see the diversity that I have carried within me, and I see the journey how I've emptied it also. And what I see in my life is the result of emptying. It's not about hoarding more. So the whole process comes from there. But it can be confusing to people who have just walked one path or followed one religion. It's very difficult to uncondition. That is my whole thing that I am preferring to. I was always keen with people without any background. First of all, because I don't want to enter into those zones which are called some paths or some other communities, whereas I shouldn't be seeming like, I'm sitting here and hunting and fishing people from here and there. I'm the last one to even think of it. I'm just not interested in all those games because I've seen those games and I'm actually fed up, and that's how I left all those zones which can take me into those areas of getting entangled. My path and what I always talk about is cutting off of entanglement. So this is a zone where you are unclutching from everything. You're living fully in the world, in your offices, in your homes, everything fine. You are unclutched. So there is no point in being so clutched. And if I have to talk this, it takes me a lot of efforts to put in uh, quotes or scriptures from avadhuts or from higher scriptures like Alagyana, Upadeshasaram, Bhagwan Ramana, Nisardat Maharaj, Chidakashi Gita, Bhagwan Nityananda, where all are talking some other language. And that is the language I attune with. And that is what even shifting into awareness is all about. It's the path of pathless avadhuts. Avadhuts don't have paths. You check out any avadhuts living. My life has gone visiting and being with avadhuts. So I've never seen anyone following any path. They are completely pathless because they are beyond all the gunas. So they don't have past, they don't have dharma, they don't have religion, they don't have identity of any sort. They have even lost their identity of being a male or female. That is the zone that they're working from. And that is the space I am touching to bring in the teachings or this whole concept of nothingness, because we are all heading towards that. And that is why the scriptures also you see is more of coming from those people who are in those states of nothingness. You can look at I'm told, or I'm often reminded, success means having a lot of money. Success means having a lot of a good experience in the world. Success means having a lot of skills and abilities to navigate in this world. Success means your reputation. Success means your number of followers, or how large the thing is, or how much activities, or how you influence people, how different zones you are, how much active you are in the social field. So success, I believe, is being translated all the time as being a social man or woman. And from that the success is measured. Like how many awards have you got? How many titles have you got? How many recognitions have you got? And how many certificates have you got? I believe that's not what spirituality is all about, at least as far as I've seen and investigated. And I have no doubt about it. And I'm not interested in that success, anyways. So that's why there is no run for, and there's no competition for me. So I'm okay. People of any field, be there, don't be there. I will just continue walking. So the idea is crystal clear in front of me, very, very crystal clear. And there is no compromise in that. So I don't want to compromise anything for that so-called success, which is very worldly. Mine is the aims of spiritual success. So here we can see always spiritual and worldly success is put on a par, and both are measured on the same level. You've got to be completely dynamic in both areas. I beg to completely differ from that. And it's not from my doubts or anything. I'm crystal clear. I don't have an iota of doubt in this. At least I can refer to avadhuts and the path of avadhuts. You can see how much recognition, how many titles, awards, recognitions, medals, names, or certificates. How many of these, or how many followers, or how many all these kind of social activities did somebody like Nisardat Maharaj have? Somebody like Bhagwan Ramana have? Somebody like Bhagwan Nityananda had? You'll find it's impossible. This just cannot relate. It's completely another field, but they were very rich. spiritually. And they lived in sheds, they lived in huts. Nisardat Bhagwan, Nisardat Maharaj used to live in a small house in Mumbai, smoking bidis, living a very simple life. He had a shopper and he used to sell bidis. So, and then we have people like Bhagwan Ramana, who was never interested in any kind of activity and he was always running away from the crowd, but circumstances brought him into this crowd. We have Bhagwan Nityananda. People who are in loincloth, forget medals, they are in loincloths. I prefer that path. That's my path. It's the path of Avadutas. It's the path of simplicity, humility, nothingness, in which there is everythingness. Rich, rich in rich in teachings and rich in experience. Nothing to do with the world, how you are worldly and all that. Absolutely nothing to do. And nothing to do about success. I have never seen Bhagwan Nityananda, Nisardat Maharaj, or Bhagwan Maharishi, Ramana Maharishi, or any people of that kind talking about this word called success. If you have, please show it to me. Somewhere where they're talking about success. They have nothing to do. So it's I don't think it's justified or it's even considerate to, equal that to me or trying to put that to me. It's of no use because I am not on that zone and I'm just least interested in that area. I'm very interested in things like Avdut Gita and this has been the path all my life almost. It's been a decade. All my activities are in that zone. And Tiruvannamalai is such a place. It's of nothingness. And you can look at the teachings of Kala Jnana. Show me where is success in that, where is glamour in that, where is anything worldly in that. They're talking completely about discarding all these things which are your entanglements, your desires, which develop deep vasanas, conditionings, and tendencies, which only inhibit you towards going deeper. And I simply can't find any a ratio or a calculation how that can take you to liberation. So because I have failed in understanding that, or in my journey I've not seen it doesn't take towards that, so I preferred to walk the path of the Arunachala Tattva. That's the Shiva Tattva of nothingness. So there also, we are not talking about the Saguna Rupa because Saguna Rupa also is an aspiration. Anything Saguna, anything physical also is an aspiration. There also there is power and it's all about that. It's so much about even spiritual ego because there is so much about identifying with the Saguna Rupa and saying we are this Bhakta or we belong to that. And suddenly when you say I belong to so and so Saguna Rupa, immediately you'll see differentiation coming. That is another Rupa, this is another. So cults begin distribution. And I don't know how it can lead to liberation because everything in liberation is going towards oneness. And this is diversity. And when I look at so many paths and traditions, they never talk of oneness. Never they talk about minus or ourness. So I'm least bothered about it. That's why I made these things little clear. And it makes me only more strong in what I've been doing. And it strengthens my journey in this part. And my whole idea is to keep sharing. I'm not a teacher. I'm just making people aware of my journey and whatever I am discovering so that if they like, again, if anybody likes, they're welcome. If it is not liked, they're welcome in any ways to stay or leave because here, right from day one, I have not held anybody. I have not told you've got to do this or you don't have to do this because that's what the path is. Path means freedom. One day I was talking to a yogi and he said, I was asking about something. He said, how do I know about the path? And he said, any path that compels you that this is it and you shouldn't be looking even anywhere else. He said, just run away from there. That's how you identify the path. Because path means freedom. It cannot be, because if there freedom means love. Simple. When you are free, there is love. If you are not free, if you are enslaved, you have fear. Fear and love, opposites. So for me, it cannot work. For me, whenever I felt enslaved, I only had fear in my mind. Whenever I felt enslaved, I always had fear, or you can say opposite. Whenever fear came to me, I felt enslaved. So I would never do that in the journey that I'm walking, to enslave anybody in any ways. So those things I'm very clear, and I will keep on. I'll continue opening all these things, because these are very, very deep, subtle things which we overlook, and many can simply get stuck in it. So it's our choice. Who's ready, they can always refer to these things and make it of good use in their lives. Who are not ready can always prefer whatever they like. So that's why ready and not ready, what these words, you see, the text Upadeshasaram also. When we take it up, only in the start only it's mentioned, this is only for mature and ripe souls. Mature and ripe souls means ready. Those are ready. Simple like that. You take Kalagnana, in that also Shiva is telling Parvati, this is not for everybody, but only seekers who are ready. So I'm not talking about it. Even the scriptures, all these scriptures also, great scriptures that we are looking at, they are also talking, and there's a reason. What is the reason? Because there can be confusions and conflicts if one is not clear. So when clarity comes, independence comes. When clarity comes, liberty comes. When clarity comes, courage comes. And all these are needed to evolve or deepen the path. If I'm clinging and all the time, like a parasite, clinging on to concepts or people or places or philosophies or paths or religions or scriptures or teachers, then I'm still a slave. And that's what Nirlamba Yoga teaches. Nirlamba Yoga very clearly talks about letting go of everything one by one. Nirlamba means supportless. Salamba means with support. So the journeys begin with support, definitely, because one is not equipped to suddenly jump into the nothingness or into the void. It's very scary for people. So they need support, understood. But that support for how long is the question? That's what I always ask. Support is needed. Certainly it's needed. But for how long? When will it end? What further? These questions have always been in my mind. And when I challenged uh, with these questions, my existence to these questions, answers started coming and I had clarity. So that clarity, what I got is what I'm sharing with everyone, because I feel the journey could be very similar of everybody. Everybody is moving in that direction. So, and I find it's not a failure. It's many people have benefited out of it. Many people have been benefited out of it. And I get it from your own feedbacks, and I see people how their lives have changed. So I am sure I have nothing to prove to anyone. Nobody has anything to prove with anyone. And so there is no success rate ratios here. I am not an influential person, and I don't want to be, first of all. You know, awards can be bought, certificates can be bought, medals can be bought. I've seen all these things happening, and I'm not interested in that zone. For what? To prove to what? To prove what to what? Whom to who? What is the use of all this? It's just a mere distraction, big distraction, an obstacle. But then it all depends what our eyes is on. If it is in the success, definitely I'll be hankering after all this. If it is liberation, it will never be on all these things. So the fundas are very, very set straight. what we are talking here about. And I would like to continue without distractions. And those who like to continue are always welcome. And on these platforms are always open. Anybody can walk into these, especially only certain areas like retreats and all. I select. I'm little selective there because I want to sit only with the same frequency people whenever I'm sitting physically also. That's the only reason. And then we can expect something to happen. People who are serious about the journey. Otherwise, it's another mela. I've seen so many melas in my life, mass melas, and I don't want to get into all that kind of circus. So the little, I'm very happy. It's not about quantity. It's certainly about quality. I would love to see people liberated sooner or later, walking on the journey. Liberation means I don't mean moksha and all that. Being a Jivan Mukta, being so free and unclutching and unhooked to anything, any systems, anything, being so independent and confident, walking the journey with their own inner light, developing their own inner light. I would like to see this kind of a scenario. That's success for me. When I can see that the systems have worked, because such things never very commonly happen. So it's a very challenging part. Not really a challenge if we are sure that we are having people of the same frequency and people are deepening their experience. That's why if they are not serious, I just ask them to leave. Many people have done that. Myself, I've taken them out of the group if I don't see seriousness, because I just don't want to keep these platforms like just another thing. Like people make it a part-time kind of stuff. And that's what we were talking even to the Western people there. There are, I can see very clearly, even people who are so seniors on the path, and if they are still looking for something and they are sitting in retreats or wanting to even come, because I always was wondering, who am I to even teach these people? But then when they came with certain things and we started talking, I saw that it's no problem of theirs. They're not that they don't have wisdom or anything. They have everything. But the clarity in certain areas is not there. So the moment the clarity happens, they're happy with it, and the fill in the blanks get filled up. Now imagine if that can happen to seniors who are you and me, such seniors, and on the direct path, that too. So it shows that until we get the basics right, the journey will go on and on. There is no end to it. And that is where the key area of my focus has been. Luckily, fortunately, even the past 1 year and all that, it was all towards the basics. And I've been doing a lot of lives just on the basics. Whatever we talk here are the basics. If you handle those basics, you evolve. If you overlook those basics and you think something greater is waiting somewhere outside, you have missed the whole point. That's the biggest errors where which I can see very commonly happening in spirituality. So again, that's why I said this basics to deepen your experience. Today, what I mentioned here, the basics to set the things right, and basics in the sense, that's why I'm starting this webinar this Sunday itself, for all the people who are new and even the people who have not got a proper hold on these practices. And it's not about I know everything and what is this basic about. I've learned in this journey of mine, this recent journey, that it may be a feeling that I know everything, but you might not know basically the basics itself, the fundamentals. So that is my key area of focus now, to just be centering the basics itself. Because if the basics are set right, automatically you will go to the highers. And one need not even think about self-inquiry. What the path of who am I, or trying to find your soul, and self-realizing and all that. Greediness makes one go jump, overlooking the basics. I'm seeing this and I'm speaking about it quite on and often if you can catch it. And there must be a reason why am I repeating about it. And in this journey also I saw so many people bypassing the basics and practicing years of self-inquiry. Nothing happens. So from there, my convictions are coming that if you want to really evolve on the path, you got to set these basics, and they're very, very simple. As I often say, anything simple is not appreciated. You need to complicate things. You need to make it so powerful and so, extravagant, and add so much of flavor to it and toughness to it and make it the more rare kind of a technique. Then all the greediness within us will be tempted only for that. See, it's a same reflection. If your greediness is attracting something, greediness, the result will be in par with the greediness. The intention itself is not proper, so the results will not have that kind of a power. I know many people who have been coming to Tirunamalai, and you can't chat. You got to relog in. I've seen so many people who are coming to a certificate from astral world will be good, not from the sansar. Yeah. There also you don't need certificate. And I'm telling you, astral worlds don't issue certificates. They just gift you with the trophies. You just get what you're looking for straight, because there's no business there. And nobody's just interested in all these things, transactions. So if you are not interested, you are in the right zone, because that thing also is not interested. So I've seen people coming to Tirunamalai, spending time and trying to hunt for something. I know that curiosity because I've been there. For the past 15 years, I've been going there. I know what I did for the past 12 years, 11, 12 years. I was going in hope of something will happen, something will happen, something will happen. And I went into every nook and corner of the hill, every cave, the temples, meditated, so-called tapasyas, 1 hour, 2 hours, shaking rigorously, putting my eyes up, and all those things. Just apart from boosting my ego, I got nothing from that. It's not in that. It's just not in that. Whereas I told you in the past 3 years, I've had leaps of quantum leaps of consciousness that I saw in my journey, which I never saw all these years. Why? Because I got the basics right, simply. And that's the grace. It just showed me how simple things are, and I'm trying to complicate things so much. So we need not get so complicated. Our egos keep us complicated because we feel we know everything, and we don't need anything, and then I am there, let me go and do this and do that. In that doing, everything goes. So I'm teaching people how to just undo all those things and just settle down. We had the groups where we were discussing with the Westerners, and one or two of them had this, as they told, attention span. They said we have only 2 hours of attention span. I asked why. They said it's the age factor. So somebody in the 70s told that. And funnily, somebody in their 80, close to 80, came and sat next day for the second day retreat for hours together. And there was a lady who's close to her 80. She was unshakably sitting there. No complaints, no grumbling, no this, no that. And people are, the leg will ache, my back will ache, hunger is there. Time to time, we haven't had our breakfast. Oh, I understand. It's all with the physicalities and all understood with age. But somewhere I could see they have conditioned themselves very strongly. They have become their own limitations. They have become their own slaves. And whenever I tried to touch that zone, they were very offensive. They didn't like it. They said, this is how it is. So I said, that's why I segregated the two groups. It's the other don't complain anything. We began like 6:30, we began our sessions, and sometimes it went even till 10:30 at night. They're all activities and nobody's tired. It's not about young or old. It's about the attitude of what they got from the basics of that. There's some basics in that awareness. Awareness itself is alertness, energy. So if that is caught properly, they can do it. That's it. And if they don't catch that, any amount you do, it's not going. It's a visible proof. It's not that, there are people who have done for so many years, but not getting, but still sometimes it can be difficult to catch the message condition. So it's like if I say I am this way, and then I want somebody to talk my language. So I keep going from one place to the other, seeing who will please my ego and who will talk to me in the language that I'm very comfortable with and with my conditions. I'll be this way, I'll be this way, I'll be this way. These are my things. This I cannot change, that I cannot change. Now you try to tell me, you won't get anything. Because sometimes the load and burden of experiences also are too much. Sometimes the load of knowledge also is too much, burden of knowledge. So when it comes to a point where you have to undo, there, one can just hold on and say, no, this is my prized position. I cannot give it. These experiences, these wisdom, and these conditionings, and all these things, I cannot give it. What will I do? I'll be alone. It's very scary. I met a professor from Canada, and he was a great historian all his life. Any subject you tell, he has the whole knowledge. Indian fighting, what is that? This movement, that movement, right from the 17th century till even today's politics, history of India, history of any country, he has it on the tip of his fingers. So, very influential person. But then he said, while talking to me personally, help me unload this. This is coming my way all the time. So sometimes there are cases where you are aware that it's a burden, but you're helpless to put the shed down because, again, of some strong beliefs. So that beliefs keep people tied up. So, what a big burden is that? All the knowledge and all the experiences. And that is why I said it's very difficult for me to even work towards anyone who's working with a lot of fundamentals, or a lot of beliefs and some kind of their experiences, their paths, whatever they're doing, and all those things. So it's always conflicting. There's a spark happening always when they try to bring this together. People who try to bring this together are greedy. It's only coming out of greed, thinking that I'll have this and I have this some enhancement, and that can give me something greater. No, it will give you more confusion only. It can never give you that. That is why these should not be experimented with. This is already experimented by people. Great masters who walk these, like Ramana and all these people, when they're talking completely from experience. And I can relate to their wisdom, which is coming so crystal clear. and it's not involving any of the worldly distractions. That's the best part. None of Ramana's teachings, none of Arunachala teachings have not got anything to do with the world. Absolutely anything to do with the world. It's not about being a Vairagi or sannyasi, but there are people who are in the householders and the grahastha, having children, having family, yet unentangled. That's the brilliance. That's the brilliance of that path where uh, you don't have to give excuses that I'm married or I have children or I'm old, I'm young. The Maha Yoga, Ramana refers to self inquiry as Maha Yoga. Maha means the father of all yogas. And not just see, there are many references of self inquiry being the Maha Yoga because that's the final yoga. You come what may, you do everything just leads to purification. After that, the ego has to be killed, and the only way to kill the ego is the Maha Yoga or the self inquiry, which Vashishta Mahamuni also told Bhagavan Ram. So in Maha Yoga, Ramana was referring, I just read this time. I'd been to Skandashram and I had a very good experience. That's how divinity guides. It helps each other. I used to see a girl fully in white moving around in Ramanashram for many years. I've been seeing her. Very dedicated. I observe her because they come always in. There are many people in white. And this young girl always keeps moving. She's bald. She's very serious. And she's continuously moving around. 1 second. She's continuously moving around the ashram, doing so many things and all that. And I was very impressed with the sannyasis there completely. Many ladies are there that way. So somebody one day asked me, some female only asked me, they wanted to do some strong practice there for a couple of months, intensify. So they were asking if any ladies are there. Or I said, I have no idea. Let me check out. So one day I went. I was coming down from the hill. I saw one sannyasi, I believe. I don't know anything about them. She was a lady in sari sitting there, elderly, maybe in her 50s or something. So I went to talk to her and I asked, excuse me, Namaskaram Mari from the ashram. She was suddenly very rude. She just said, shut up and get out. I was taken aback for a second. And I was taken aback. I didn't immediately leave. I looked at her because it took me some time to even understand what's going through. And seeing me stand there, she was more furious. She angrily said this, get out. By the time I just moved from there, I was like confused. What happened? So whatever I had to ask, I saw the watchman there. I went and asked him. He had no idea. I said, forget it. So this question remained in my mind. If any female wanted to go there. So this time I was in the Ramanashram, I was meditating, and this is when not during the retreat. After my meditation, I thought I'll just go and sit on the hill, not on top. I don't like going on top. So I said, this is before the retreat. I'll just go and sit in the side somewhere and just sit there. So I was climbing the hill, thinking I'll not go to Skandashram on top. I didn't want to go. But that's not how things are designed always. The Upadesh Saram very clearly says, we think we are the doers, we take decisions. It's not. I was going little on the top of the hill. One small girl came running from the hill up, and her father and mother also was behind her. She came running and she hid behind. So I was surprised what happened. I looked at her and her father was coming from front and he said, don't worry, you stand behind uncle. Monkeys were chasing. They were not chasing her, they were running around, but they were scared. The family was scared. So this little girl, maybe around 8, 9 years old, she came and stood behind me. And the father was saying, don't worry, uncle is there in Telugu. And she was there, and I said, nothing. The Malkis will do nothing. You keep going. Don't keep your bags open and just hold a stick in your hand. They will not even come close. But he seemed to be a little scared because he has a child in hand also, and his wife was there. He was only telling the girl, uncle will take you, uncle will take you. So it was like he didn't want to go, but okay, I said, I started walking, and this girl child, she caught my hand, and we were both walking. I said, where are you going? They said, they want to go on top first time. I said, I'll come to till little, and then you can go ahead. I said, okay. But there were so many monkeys, and then they were so scared all the time. Then I said, okay, let me go. And that's how I kept walking. And I ended up in reaching with them in Skandashram. So Skandashram, I went and sat. They had to, I was just sitting, I didn't even go inside. I was sitting just outside on the veranda and took out my book, which was there. I don't know which book it was. I was Ramana's book only. I was reading it just like that. And then I met this young lady whom I told, the sannyasi. I met her on the way only, just near the steps. And we got to be talking just briefly. And when she talked, I was like a little comfortable because I was hesitating. Now she will tell get out or whatever, because I that got patterned in my head like sannyasis talk that way. Probably because they are scared of men, or they want to keep away men. That is what I thought when that lady got white. But then I was thinking, even if you don't like men, you can be polite at least. So this young girl talked, and then we were talking. And then I told her about, oh, I was a little scared even to talk to you because I had this experience. She just said, okay, it's everybody is not as spiritual as they seem to be. And we got the answer, and then we didn't bother anything about it. One second. Some people have some problem getting in. I'm giving them the YouTube. So we just talked a little, and by the time Skandashram came, and then she was on her way, she was moving around. I sat in the Skandashram veranda, and I was reading this book. So she came up there again after 20 minutes, and she moved around, and she just came and sat beside me, and she was looking at what I was reading. She asked, which book is this? I said, so and so book. Then she just started talking. She just said, previously I used to be so enthusiastic around this place, moving around, so much of enthusiasm, doing my meditation, so much of things were happening, but now I'm not interested in anything. I can't understand what's wrong with me. And this is not the first time somebody has said this. So what I was reading, I was looking at it, and I saw it. The answer is there. I gave her the book. See, check if this can help. She just read a few lines, and she was like, wow, this is what I was looking for. She has been months in that state, guilt and confusion. She looked, and then she said, do you have a pen and paper? I gave her. And she had tears in her eyes. She was writing down everything. Some message, deep message for her. And that was exactly the page I was reading there. So what I'm trying to say is how that connection of the answers come. And she was very happy. She sat there for a while, noted down everything. And then she gave me a small book, old, some black and white. Small booklet it was, which is not in print, I think now. She said she opened the thing and gave it to me. See if this appeals to you. I read it, I said, wow, because that was something that was going in my mind. And I needed clarity. It was clear. That is something that's happening in my life. Very clear. I sat there and read the whole that chapter that she had given, section. I thanked her, gave the book back. She also thanked me. That's it. And she seems to be somebody from UK because her accent was UKish. And we were both happy. Both got our answers. And I came down What I'm trying to relate is that monkey, the monkey game, that child coming, and I was supposed to sit somewhere, and then I went on top there because of that child. One led to the other, and then she got help, I got help. How beautifully life helps if we are just in the flow, if you are not thinking so much about things. There is something that takes, uh, you know, guides us so beautifully. And here we are thinking about doership, because that is what I did all these years in the mountains. Doership. I did a lot of things there. I did a lot of sadhana there. And when the doing just stopped, the being happened, I became more aware. I just became aware of the presences, and whatever happened, I just began flowing without any guilt. Then came a time when I went to Tiruvannamalai and I did nothing. Because every time the ego is to get a boost, oh, I did something. First day I went to the hill, I went to all the caves, and then meditated there, climbed the rocks on top, dangerous rocks. And then next day I went for Girivalam, tired, achy legs, yet moving. Wow, that penance that I did, and the temple sitting there, the energy and the tapas and all the running around. So 2 to 3 days, I'm like happy I did something. And then in the past few years, I'm going there and I'm not doing anything. Absolutely not doing anything. I might just sit in Aura Usha for hours, 4 or 5 hours, just with a book. I might sit because Aura Usha is right opposite to Sheshadri Swamigal Samadhi, one of my favorite places. So he is not in the Samadhi, it's a radiation that's there all around there. And then sometimes I'm in my room. Sometimes I go in the morning to the ashram and just sit behind the Samadhi, come back and do nothing. Sometimes I just go on the hill and do nothing. And I'm telling you, those were my most productive years than the so much of doing. Because that's the tattva all about. The awareness that I'm trying to teach. And you just settle down with all the doings gone. And that is the basics, what I'm discussing today. These are the basics, simple basics. There is not too much of hulala there. And that I found little difficult to convey to the senior crowd, because it's all about doing, so much of doing, so much of knowledge and things like that. So that's not very easy. When I say settle down and sit here, if you settle down with me, you'll sit for even 5 hours without any problem. But if you are the doer and if you start deciding, if you are conditioned in certain way and if you are following your patterns and conditions, then you are bound to become tired, because people who live in the mind are always tired. People who live in the body consciousness get tired, because these are two different aspects what we're talking. Body, mind is ego. Ego consciousness is body translated to body and mind. So if you are somebody who's too much paying attention to the body and too much paying attention to the mind, then it's the rule over the ego consciousness. The ego consciousness is working. This is how you become aware. How do I know if I'm living in awareness? Check out all day. How much time do you spend on your body? And it could be anything: watching the body, maintaining the body, washing the body, painting the body, decorating the body, or the bodily feelings of sickness, ailments, achiness, all those kind of things. That's body consciousness. And mind consciousness, all the time influenced by all kind of patterns and conditions. You're just automatically moving in that zone, just moving with no awareness. Whatever happens by the mind, you're moving. So that's body and mind, which is nothing but ego consciousness. Awareness is completely the opposite of this. Awareness, you live in none of these. It's not that absolutely absent, but very little percentage of body and mind. You are more in awareness. You're a conscious being. There is where you don't get tired. That is how I demonstrate people to walk the hill with non-stop. Don't stop. No even drinking water. Nothing. You just walk. If you are not in ego consciousness, if you shift into awareness, you will see it's easy. So these are proofs that we are giving evidence, because mind is so conditioned, we can't believe. So we have to give them proofs. And I am also working with them, where I'm demonstrating it. It's possible. So it's not, oh, you can do it, you are a great person, you are a this person, that person. It's not. If there also in the retreat, somebody said, when I was talking about, oh, if you are fully nourished in the awareness, you don't feel hungry. People don't like having food who are in the retreat. Why is that happening? Because they're nourished by the life force, prana. So I told the elderly, this is how we work. So they were a little sarcastic while they were talking. Oh, maybe you are full of prana, so you can do it. I was talking about the next session we are going to have in July. So they were just slightly sarcastic there, saying that, oh, for you it's easy, so maybe you're thinking of this time, that time, because you are full of prana. And they were laughing. So whenever somebody's gone into that zone, I know they are just conditioned to think that way. And if you're here to praise me, I can do it, or you can do it, you can do it, then there is no point, because I am trying to teach you, you also can do it. But the person is saying, no, it's not about me, it's about your greatness. You are great. Then what's the point? What are we meeting for? There is something that the transaction has to happen. That's what I'm trying to share here. And for sharing, you need to first trust me. If you cannot trust what I'm saying, okay, no problem. Verify it. Investigate in your own life. Put it into practice and check it out. Or I'm there, you can experiment with my life. When I say you can sit for 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours without moving, I believe I have done that enough to give you a conviction that that's possible by somebody. And when I'm doing it along with you, even in the hill or something, there's a proof. These are all for evidence to break your condition, because the mind is so strong. Even if God comes and tells you something, you're not going to listen. You will trust your mind only. So that is why this evidence-based things, what we are doing, everything should be simultaneously with evidence, experience. So until that happens, it's very difficult. So I was finding it a little difficult to convey. Finally, uh, I had to demonstrate and tell. See, the people in the retreat, they sit from morning 6 to whatever time. It's not that I make them sit. They are sitting with the flow. They already have the options to go out or take breaks or whatever. They are preferring to be that way, because they value those 3 days. They know something is happening to them. It's not that they're sitting there in hope or something will happen to me. It's already happening to them. And they have the conviction that something is happening, something is altering in me. And I don't want to lose that opportunity. I want to take the maximum. That is the reason they say, no, let's be in the processes, whatever processes. So it's all coming from there. But if somebody says, no, I have my conditions and you have to deliver in this way, I say, sorry. I told the seniors also, many of them on the day one only, on phrase only, I said, I cannot deliver. If you're asking me to go your way, I cannot. There is a way that I prefer to go, that's the surrender. And I don't know. I don't have no idea about time and this zones and all. I absolutely cannot go on that. I cannot promise anybody on that. It's not that I'm inconsiderate, but it's I don't give importance to it. So finally somebody was trying to teach me there that as a teacher, you should have the clock in front of you. I said, okay, I take that as a lesson also. I learn it from you also, because I am also learning here. I'll take that. But somehow I can't relate to the clock. No, you should have it. Okay, fine. I asked Raj Lakshmi, get me a clock and please put it there. And in the hall, we put it behind. And the next day, I did the same errors. And then I said, somebody taught me to put the clock, but now somebody has to teach me when to look at it. It simply doesn't work. Even if you teach me how to look at it, Then somebody has to teach me how to decide whether this is the right time or not. Very difficult to force somebody into that zone. I love free flow. I'm very spontaneous. I like that, going with the flow. So if anybody is in the flow, they are also into it. If somebody is restricting it, who's restricting it? Is the mind, ego, conditions. They have their own conditions, preconceived conditions. So I told them, till as far as you can stay, you stay. But let us not disrupt the whole process, because there are people who have come from very far, and they have come from with a certain intensity in the mind, and they trust the process. So I don't have to sit and prove to them something, after which they will settle down into it. Not needed. They already know the process. They have just come to sink here. Perhaps the other have come to experiment with me and test me. You can do that. It's not that I don't want to run away, but don't alter the whole program for your experimentation. I can give you separate time for that. I won't allow any experimentation here. And some asked me about the next batch joining. I said, we'll have separate. I will never include these two crowds. That's it. So some felt bad about it. I said, whatever you feel, feel. And the thing is, I'm not going out and advertising this. There are so many communities out there where we can do it. And they have themselves come and asked, should we send? I said, no, don't do it. Who feel settled, let them look into the videos there, shifting into awareness. If they feel it works for them, then let them come and sit, because then we can talk further. If they are in the experiment process, let them leave. I do not want also people, because see, the point is, we are not trying to make a crowd here, that we just have people and number. Then that's a desperate thing you put in anybody. We are not. And that is the reason I put those posts also today. And fortunately, very fortunately, today my Gurudev's message came in the morning. Somebody sent me that. I said, wow, this is perfect time when it has to happen. So I just put it across everywhere. You decide what you want and then settle down. Don't be jittery about all these things and be confused about all these things. If you are confused, clear your confusions, or else be with it. Whatever you like to do, there's nothing. But don't come and convince me, because I saw people trying to convince me in the last 2 days. I was getting some message whenever I'm putting something in, even in this group. They try to convince me the other ways. Oh, there we have it in this way, there we have it. I just take off these people, because they're not ready for what we are trying to share. We are not here to debate about what is where, what is here. Are we accepting and understanding the higher truths? And I'm not just saying it. If you cannot accept Kalagyan, if somebody looks into that, and where Lord Shiva is saying, you should not be working on your chakras. And if that person feels jittery, tensed, and all their chakras shrink after hearing that, then Kalagyan is not for them. That's simple. Simple funda, which Shiva is saying, this is not for all. That is how I know whether Kalagyan is for me or not. It is not for everybody. So anything that gives you scare because you don't have clarity. Now, if somebody is getting jittered, there in that Kalagyan which I put yesterday, clearly it says mantras are not needing, reciting of scriptures are not needing, kumbhaka, pranayama is not needed for the earnest seekers of liberation. Very clearly, Shiva is telling Parvati. What is the confusion in that? But if people sit with that to argue with me, I didn't say that. Go and ask Shiva. Why? Why you have to ask me? Because I expose that thing to you. Go and ask Shiva. Where to ask? Then you go and learn meditation, how to sit and contemplate with him. Or if you do not know how to ask Shiva, come and sit here. I'll teach you. Come and sit and do these processes. You'll understand how to talk to that Shiva with you. Because you are talking about the Shiva sitting somewhere, or in some image or some temple. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something beyond that. And when you go beyond only, you will find it within you. How can you find an idol within you? Consciousness you can find within you. You cannot find an image or idol inside of you. It's common sense. So if you want something to find within you, that's your consciousness. Subtle. It has to be subtle. Simple. So first of all, you have to understand that language. If you are not in that non-dual mode, you will not understand even Kalagana. You will not understand what I'm talking about, because this is all non-dual. There's not at all duality. So if you're stuck in duality, be there. It's not a problem. Even stuck is the wrong word. For you, it is elevating. You be there. But if I come there, I'm stuck. For me, it is stuck. For you, it is might be a great thing. Do it, whatever you want. But there is no point in coming me to and trying to prove something else to me, or bringing that to me, trying to tell that is that. I won't get confused, and I won't get convinced. I'm crystal clear on what I'm doing. No even fraction of doubt. So there is no room for anyone to even come and explore that space where they can put something into my head. It's not possible. And when people do that, I can see they are insecure. Because what I have been doing once upon a time, now I'm not doing, and they were doing. And suddenly they see this guy whom we had high regard doing this thing. Now is no more doing. They are shaken up. They have their own faith shaken up. Their own experiences. They are saying now, oh, what I am doing, is this right or wrong? So the whole thing is turning there. But to make themselves secure, they are trying to pull me down, bring me there, and saying, this is how it is. And the more they say, this is how it is, I will say, no, this is not. From my point of view, this is how it is. So this is how debates take place. And if we got to keep out of this, we must understand that as per our state of consciousness, we will understand the truths. There are no other ways. So these truths can come when we only have courage to go beyond. So if you're doubting or getting scared of what is written in Kalanyana, then that means Shiva is telling a lie. As simple as that. If he's telling the truth, and if you believe, there should be no iota of doubt there. Then my consciousness should be there. If Shiva has said this in the higher scripture, there must be something about it. Let me go and explore. That's the spirit. Let me go and explore it. And I said, no, this is that's pure ego. You drop down the thing, that's my understanding. This is only how it is going to be. How can you go ahead? But we should always have the courage when we look into these higher details, even if it shakes us. There must be something in it. What is that something? Then only you are going to get an answer. But if you say, no, Shiva talk to me in my language, he's going to talk to you in your language, what you're doing. And according to him, that also is fine. He's never going to tell you, this is wrong or that is right. He is going to just check your level of consciousness. What level you are on, he'll deliver that to you. Because all this is what? His truth only. What is non-dual, dual, everything is his truth only. What is this path, that path, hundreds of paths, everything he's doing only. It's all he's there. He's involved in everything. So if he's involved in anything, he will never judge any path, and he will never tell this is right or that is wrong. It is our human egos that says my path is right and that path is wrong. Shiva will never say that, because he is there in that path also. So there is no point saying my God says this is true. Yes, he will say it is true. But you must investigate. If my God is saying this is true, then why my God is saying even that is true, which is so confusing and conflicting. Go and find out. It's the same God that's saying. That's how we evolve. Anyways, I'm not so keen to. I'm talking about the people who are already in this state and get confused. There is nothing to get confused in. So I'm talking to those. I'm not talking to trying to convince anybody. This is how it is. So it all comes down to the basics. We have not understood the basics of spirituality. What is spirituality? Freedom. And what are we getting into? Bondage. All these ideologies that we are carrying, oh, but it is this way, that way. This is all bondage. And what is spirituality? Freedom. So if it is not giving you freedom, it's not spirituality. Simple as that. Am I free? Do I feel free to express anything, say anything openly? We are so scared. I'm telling you, people even are scared to like the post because somewhere their name will be revealed there. People are scared. They don't want to come into Zoom because their name will be there. It's not that they don't like the subject or their name will come. As though we are sitting here and doing a conspiracy on some other dimension or some other religion or doing some criminal activities here. So that's the problem with your own fears, your own insecurities. You want something but you feel you're scared about it because somebody is talking some truths which you have not identified with or others have not openly identified with. So it's your scare, and out of the scare you stop your own evolution because you want to see what's on the other side, but your own conditions and patterns keep you there. Concepts, your concepts. So whom is it going to affect? It's going to affect you in any ways. So coming back to the basics of spirituality, if we do not understand them, spirituality should free you. You should be able to do anything that you want. Where I am doing, at least I'm telling that fear is there to even like a post or put your name even appear there, because that is the fear. What kind of bondage you might be living in? Because if you're not even able to live the life where you want, and I'm openly speaking about all these things, and I wouldn't have spoken about all these things if there is gadbad in this. I am deeply convinced, I'm telling you. There's conviction from there. This authenticity is coming up. Even talking this live, and this is going live now. Okay. It's not that I'm talking only this in Zoom. It's right now running on YouTube also, and it will remain there. Anybody can see it. Because what I'm talking is nothing false or lies, it's as it is, what it is. So the basics. What are spirituality? Spirituality should make us more simple. Free means what? Simple. You're able to live any way. You're able to live with inner freedom. Spirituality means inner freedom. Inner freedom means no inhibitions. नो वो क्या करेंगे, ये क्या कहेंगे, ऐसा हुआ तो कैसा, वैसा हुआ तो कैसा, ये क्या वो क्या. Too much of mind ego stuff all the time. You're not free. You're not cheerful from inside. And that translates when you're bottled up so much and you hidingly go and try to find out. Without telling anybody, you go to Tirunamalai and try to hunt that secret. Damn it. It's not going to happen all that way. Because you have not understood the basic spirituality. It's freedom. Until you have that freedom to do what you want. Do what you want doesn't mean manmani, jo man mein kiya. No. Do what you want means you have no inhibitions. You don't have to think 10 times about what people will do, what people will think, and then live your life. That's a slavery. It's so much of slavery that I have to all the time think, ye kya kahenge, wo kya kahenge, and then live according to that. So the basic fundamentals we are missing. Spirituality means simplicity. We are unable to get those things. Yeah, Ronak, you can always go into that space where I'll just put it here. I've put this many times. It's shifting to awareness.com/join. I'm responding to somebody on YouTube. So I just put the link there. You can check it out. So anyways, coming to the basics, and I'm going to do this webinar now on coming 11th, and it's perfectly on this. We are not going any deeper towards self and all that stuff, but we are moving and practicing and deepening our experience with awareness, because with awareness, everything comes. And you don't have to get worried about the self stuff. It's very clear that as you clear up all the muck, And as you become empty and free and light, you automatically navigate towards yourself. There's no, this path is not about doership, that you have to do this. You just take care of the things that are prohibiting you from flying, from raising your consciousness. That's all. Immediately the rest will happen. And that's what even Mahayoga I was reading. It was some book there only on the some notes from here and there and all. In that very clearly it was said that Ramana said this. You have to put efforts in the start to move into effortlessness. It's like the rocket has to put efforts to move out of gravity, out of the earth zone. And that's why that propulsion and that speed with which it takes off, the rocket takes off, because it has to beat gravitation. In our case, gravitation is our vasanas, tendencies, all that stuff that is binding us. So if we are able to propel in that direction, after the orbit where the gravity works, beyond that, then it's effortless. You just float around. You can take it reverse also. If there is a whole galaxy and the space guys are returning in their shuttle back to Earth, they have to put their direction towards the Earth and they have to give force. The machine has to run. The spaceship has to be propelled in that direction towards the Earth. Till when? Till it comes into the orbit of gravity. Once it comes into the orbit of the gravity, where gravitational force begins, it will get sucked in, whether the motor is on or not. It will simply navigate towards that. So that is what Ravana was saying, that as you move closer towards the self with little bit of efforts, after reaching that stage, near the near zone of the soul starts pulling you. From within there is a pull. That is precisely what Rumi meant by what you seek is seeking you. So it's a two-way thing that's happening. It's not always that I have to propel. All that I need to take care is what is pulling me down. And that's what I meant by basics. We are coming down to basics. We are not doing any rocket science here to go towards self-realization. We are simplifying the process and just taking care of the basics. So if you take care of the basics and as you float, the rest of the gravitational pull, the pull that comes from your soul, that will just suck you in. And Atma Vichara, that path, I very strongly believe it's something that happens. It's not that what you do. You are propelled, even if you feel you're doing, you are made to do, you can say. That consciousness makes you do it. And it guides you how to do it. So we experimented with this batch. We did a little bit of experiments of going into that space of self-inquiry. Few of them were very new, and very new means from not from any path, but they were old compared to the shifting into awareness platforms. And there are people, I was surprised. There was a girl who came, the very silent girl. She came and of course I know her presence here in the WhatsApp group, but I never see her in these sessions also, what we do here. She came there and she was not from any path, nothing. She only had the interest of going within to herself. That's all. And Ramana's teachings had attracted her, and through some way she came into shifting into awareness almost a year back, and that's how she got pulled into this. But she's not interested in anything else, just the tattvas. That's because of her maturity, of her some past life time. Suddenly it has activated, and she has that element of silence, very silent, completely silent, only when needed. Absolutely, she opens her mouth, disinterested in anything, anyone. I said, wow, it's a good thing. So I learned something from her also. She had come to learn, but I learned something from her. And that's something very rare. She lives her life certainly. She's very young, hardly in her mid 20s, but mature enough. So there were people like this who were not interested in any other thing, but they were just there to deepen their experiences. So for that, we had to do some kind of things. And yes, it helped us go deeper. On the last day also, we went through many such processes which helped deepen the process. But at the same time, there were few new people. Like I said, after the whole day, that little girl asked me, what is awareness? So I was taken aback. So then I decided to do this webinar, and I think that will act as a basics for all of us. If we have still not got it, because I understand everybody has joined this platform in different time zones. And I'm not sure if everybody really knows what we are when we are talking about awareness, because without knowing that awareness, you cannot go into the higher things that we are doing, like self-inquiry. Even if you have to go to that zone, your awareness has to be so sharp. Otherwise, one will not be able to enter in that zone. So if we were doing a meditation on light body, which is done by the great immortals like Mahavatar Baba or Ramlinga Swami and all that. So when we are meditating on deeply on the cellular level, deeply even beyond that, your awareness has to be so sharp that otherwise you cannot enter it. You cannot become aware of your body parts only. Forget it. Then it's very difficult to get beyond it. That is where I'm telling, until our basics are set right, we will not, it is not about deviating. It's not about, hey, forget all this. What is this about? So, one person, one person in that said something funny. He was a foreigner only. I think he is not going to come back. Rest all are there, but he didn't find it somehow. It didn't suit him. So he sat, for 4 hours almost, and we did a process on the toe, which we always begin like head, toe, eyes, thumb, whatever, all these things. So that toe was enough to deepen many people's experience, because at 4 hours I was talking, and my talks are not lectures, it is a process itself. If you align with it, it's a process, it becomes a process itself, and then it helps you deepen that experience. So but if people do not know that, they will think it's a lecture, 4 hour lecture and half an hour of practice, 3.5 hour lecture and half an hour of practice, which I know many of you also will be thinking in Zoom seminars and all that. We did little practice and we talked about a lot. We have missed the point. I'm not here to give any techniques, because you already have enough of techniques. All our life has gone with techniques. And what has techniques done to us? How many techniques you know? Where has it helped you? And here we are coming for another technique. That is what I told the Westerners. No techniques will be given here, and you will not find any techniques. So those who cannot understand what I'm talking about, they sat for 4 hours. Not everybody, one of them, and left little unhappy. But then I got to know from their other circle that that person said, so you sit for 4 hours and all that you get to know is a toe, about your toe. And I immediately responded saying that it's very unfortunate that you sit for 4 hours and all that you understand is the toe. all that you could catch is only the toe. So you have missed the main thing. These are perspectives. So for somebody, it is just a toe. What big deal in that? For me, that is everything, because from there only everything is going to build out. So if you can't figure out your toe, if you can't become aware of your toe, what are you going to become aware of yourself? My question is as simple as that. If one cannot sit there and become aware completely of your toe in and out, everything completely, what are you going to become aware of your full feet? You're not even worthy enough to become full feet. Then 2 feet, your whole torso, 2 hands, necks and head. Can anybody simultaneously become aware of everything at one time? Because there is where the catch is. And I told you one of these practices is nothing but Mahavatar Baba's practice, which I didn't know. Last webinar, I told this very clearly. And I never knew that these practices I've been intuitionally doing all these things. And then something comes to me and then says, this is precisely what Mahavatar Baba's teachings are. Of course, one or two things added to that, they add to that we did it in this retreat. I had it in that. Because I feel guided by him then. It's not that we are learning it from somewhere and then do it. This is something that's naturally happening. So it's not just about the toe. There's a lot to it. It begins there. Journey begins there. So if somebody thinks, oh, it's a very gross thing, that's not very important. That's how you have concluded. But I practice all these things very, very particularly. I practice awareness more on my body than anything. Because I told you about your rejuvenations that happens. And there are many aspects to it. Anyways, that is again with the trust that we have in the process. And if you can trust through these experiences of somebody, that the basics we need to build up, then the rest of the things shall go ahead clear. And here also I'm telling, I'm not sure how many of us in this WhatsApp are still not clear about this. You are free to leave. Never feel obliged by anything. Never ever feel obliged by anything. That this is a formality, someone will feel bad. I will never feel bad, I assure you that. Because it is not a competition. Wherever you go, whatever you do, ultimatum is that we must reach the goal. So if something can take you there, that's all our purposes. We are just happy about it. Anyways, that you do. But don't waste time, either of ours or mine or anybody else. If we don't feel we are not suiting something like that, you can just go. You can just put a simple message. Take me off of this group. I'll immediately take you off. Or if I don't see responses also, I'll take you off. Because if you're not very serious, I don't see you anywhere, you're not involved and all that, then there is no point keeping there. So I would like just like-minded, even if I don't mind if this whole group becomes big and then it shrinks down to even 20, I don't care. I'll still be with that 20. I'm happy with it. So it's all about our fundamentals. We will be having small Zoom sessions on and off in the free ones, as I always told, as something to keep us connected on these paths and all that. But in case you feel you have not learned enough or you want to deepen, so that's why I put the punchline there, that if you are new or a beginner, you can learn this shifting into awareness. Or if you are already in the thing, you are a practitioner, then you can deepen through that, because it will only deepen. You can see, like Upadesh Saram, the more number of times you do, it just deepens. It's not that I know it. Any number of times you go into it, it just deepens into that process, and that gets into the core. So any questions anybody has here? Where did all your messages go? Yeah, but all those practices I will be doing internally. Okay, that is no live and all that. These sessions are okay just for information. I'm doing it live on YouTube and all that. But all the practices that we do will strictly be in the group only. Nothing will be done anywhere outside. Even the free ones, I'm telling regularly that we do. Anything you would like to ask or share? I've been talking for some while now. Yes, another thing is I'll just change the whole outlook of the this programs and the whole thing. What we are doing, the presentations. I'll be revamping all these J-Client and all that and make it more constructive and more useful to people rather than posting quotes from here and there and all that nonsense. I'll rather stick to short videos, important videos, steps, and things like that, and make it more beneficial. I'll do that. Even you'll see the webinars and the Zoom sessions also much to the point because I've talked enough in my life now, and the people who have got it. And if anybody is new, they can always go and refer to the old crap that I keep talking again and again about. So they will have an understanding. So I would like to keep it concise, very concise, to the point, with the practices in all webinars, be it. And I don't think I'll put it like 8 hours or 6 hours and all that. I can keep it little concise so that we have more of an experience and realizations than wisdom. Wisdom is needed, but practices are more powerful for us to deepen our experiences. And those who are very consistent in all the any of these programs or whatever attempts they're doing, I will surely keep small free sessions for them at nights, like 1 hour or something, where we just practice and deepen our experiences and take off from there. And certainly we'll continue the clarity sessions that we are already having, only again in Zoom, not live. We'll be doing it. Any questions anybody wants to ask, interact, you are most welcome to. So that whatever we are practicing, simultaneously we have clarity on that. I don't see most of you here today. Okay, that's your wish anyways, because it's going live. Many of you might prefer to be not here. That's fine. So any questions? Yeah, Roja, I see your message up, and you can join the same link you have put it up on top if you want. You can directly get into the group, and then we will have communications there. Okay, so I don't think anybody has any questions here, so we'll pause for now for today. I will come back again with. I agree that some there should be inhibitions to express or say, but it is more difficult with your people like family, as you don't want to offend them. See, that's the journey we are moving into. It is not about offense, because when you say I don't want to offend anybody, it's like a people pleasing uh, ability or people pleasing trait that we have, or it could be or the fear of rejection, where we don't want any hangama there, so we are going very light. All that is possible, very much possible, and that's what we are talking about, neutrality here. In fact, this theme about Tirunamalai retreat was only on acceptance. Acceptance of reaching or striving to reach acceptance, family, work, spirituality, life. Because acceptance means neutrality. You're okay with it. Everything is okay. People are angry, you're okay. People are happy, you're okay. Because it's all people's problem. So I'm not taking on anybody's problem as my responsibility. Even if it is, so what if it's my own family members? I mean, God has given everybody intellect, buddhi, and everybody enough senses where they can decide. But if somebody refuses to choose that proper decision, I think it is silly and foolish that I compromise my values for that. So that doesn't make sense. And that doesn't add value. And here we go in a very different zone, because once you're seriously knowing where the path is, it's about disentangling with all this. I never talk about moha, attachment, or go love your family and go jump into their moha with them, entangle in attachment with them. That's nonsense. Maybe some other spiritual zones tell you all that. When we are talking towards self-realization, these things won't come. It is becoming seriously aware and knowing that what you call your family is none. See, you will not hear these kind of talks somewhere. That is why you will find these things very jittery, very scary. Hey, what is this guy talking about? I am expecting this to give me some santona, some good help, and this guy is talking about vairagya. As I often repeat again and again, vairagya means you need not actually leave anybody. You are there, you are doing everything that you need to do, all those things, but you're not getting entangled. This much, if we understand and if we work towards that goal, all problems will get sorted. But we don't move away from that entanglement. We seek all solutions, but we say entanglement se chutta hai na hoga. That I'm going to get fully involved into people's life, into moha, and then I'm going to seek solutions. It's like the monkey putting hand in the bottle glass jar and trying to pull out peanuts. It saw peanuts and then handful it's trying to grab and pull out. It's paining. It wants the peanut also. It wants the relief also. Not happening. One side, it wants to liberate the hand. Other side, it doesn't want to give up this attachment. How is it possible? And the monkey is struggling. It's bleeding, hands are bleeding, and they say, I get pain from my attachments. Look here, I get pain from my attachments. So simple common sense, anybody will tell you, give up your attachment, hand will come, pain will go. You say, no, I want this also. That is where the pain comes from. So here it will be a different kind of teachings that you will see, so-called teachings. It will be straight to the point and not giving you some assurance that no, you should go there and keep loving them. Love will happen when you have detachment. That's unconditional love. You try going and giving them unconditional, you cannot give. So why are we faking all these things? How can you give unconditional love to anybody when you can't really? Try it. But you get detached and see unconditional love is just love. Try it. Detach from them and see. You'll have a lot of unconditional love. Right? So these are clarities that you can get by practice of awareness. So there you will have no inhibitions to express anything. Hope this answers. Mohini ji, can we please have more of light meditation? Yeah, light meditation is very powerful. We can do it there, but I would like to follow it up with the Tiruvannamalai group. So whoever was there for the retreat, only them, because we get prepared. It's not that anybody can just sit. We have been moving around the mountains. We were cleansing our koshas. We were doing the Girivallam. We entered into temples, the Jiva Samadhis. We brought ourselves into such a state of awareness. We lived in that zone. And then when you enter into those light body meditations, they are very powerful. So it is all about the environment that you create. So that we can do it for people who have already attended, but I wouldn't want to do it anywhere random. Anyways, those who are coming for the July retreat, we'll do it there. We'll deepen the process. And July, you'll see a lot of new experiences coming because we are going to be a little serious on that. Deepening the experiences. It's all about deepening, going deeper. We'll have a lot of silent moments. Those who are ready. It's not going to be a full fun activity, but the end of the retreat will see very, very depth. And that's what we are talking about, experience. Once you get the experience, you will know this is what is philosophy. It should translate into experience. So it's all on us, how we build up that kind of an atmosphere. I'm hoping, looking at the names, I feel at least 85% of them are serious people. So I believe it will move towards that zone in July. Yes, July, there are seats available if you like to, but there are no AC rooms. And I think the heat has come down, so no problem. While coming, the rains had already begun 2 days. It was raining. Last 2 days, there was no heat. So there is absolutely no problem about AC, non AC. Even non AC rooms will easily do there because it's July. And those who are not able to attend in July, it will be directly in October next. Yeah, so I think I've answered the questions. Why after so many days of practice still I am not aware? Long time. No, I don't think so. Check it out. Because I've never seen you in any of those practices that we do here. So I don't know so many days of practice what you're talking about. You have to take the help of the satsanga. Satsanga means when we are together. The presence matters. The presence of the group matters. Because that is where you benefit from. Like Tirunamalai, all these retreats, what we are doing, the presence of the hill matters. It's an add-on advantage. That meditation, that kind of experience, you sit at home, you might not have what we had in Tirunamalai. So we must take advantage of the presence. That's the satsanga with the hill. And these Zoom programs is satsanga. There is a presence here. I'm available here. With me, there are presences available. These things enhance us. So when I mean practice, when you mean practice, I'm talking about consistency here in the room. No, I'm not talking about your attendance in Tiruvannamalai. That I don't know. Kaunsa zamane ka hai. That's old. I'm talking about consistency in this room, which we are doing free here, and many times we have done it at nights. So then, if you are very consistent, and then if you say I'm not, then it's understood. But I don't know, when you say I am doing a lot of, what are you doing, God only knows. So you got to check out on that. And awareness is not just becoming aware of your toe or your hand or things around. Everything you must become aware of. Even when we speak, we are aware. When we communicate, we are aware. There should be awareness. And to reach to that level, there are stages. Start with the basics and then go on deepening. It will happen. That's why I'm saying, follow a certain pattern which has been advised and do more of those things in the start so that it takes you slowly into effortlessness. Trust on the path, getting answers. I know my inhibitions, how to get rid of it, experiencing in awareness. Please give light. समझ नहीं आया मुझे. You said you know everything here, or Please give light. I didn't understand what you're wanting. Bhaiya, is there any way we can invite the same grace of Arunachala sitting at home? I have such a deep desire to come there. Hopefully, might be able to join in September. September, we are not doing anything. But can we do something sitting at home for the time being? Some connection might be a lame answer for you to answer. I don't know. It will depend on how connected you are or how open you are to these things. We can do it. That's not a problem. I've done it before also. Before we doing the Kala Jnana, I remember we connecting to Arunachala and and it was a powerful meditation. So it's all about your attendance. You got to be, and that was free. That was already done. And I don't know, there are no plans. Here I said it's very, very spontaneous. So I will not say that, today is, what is today? Saturday, and today is Wednesday, and Saturday we will be doing light body meditation, and Monday we will be doing. It's nothing like that. Even if I plan and sit it won't happen. I don't know when what will flow. So you got to be there whenever you can. And I would say once, if you even attempt to go to Tirunelveli, I'm not saying retreat only, just go there. And even if you do this, what I'm giving you tips, if you sit there, spend 3 days and go back properly, you should be able to get activated there. That's the whole thing about. Otherwise, attend the retreats. And once you get activated from there, then it's very easy to connect to that place. That's what I'm trying to do there. It's like a initiation itself. Initiation of Arunachala. It's like that. Knowing my inhibitions, which alters my awareness practice and my freedom, how to get rid of. Knowing my inhibition alters my. I'm not getting the question clearly. Thank you. Every session is a step towards increasing our awareness. Yes, Hitalji. Surely. Okay. So I would suggest you, as much as possible, try to. Yaira.
Hello, Bhaiya.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Namaste.
Yes. Namaste ji.
अच्छा भैया मैंने आपसे पूछना था थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर दिस सेशन इतने टाइम बाद आप आए तिरुवन्नमलई से फिर आपने किया ये भैया ये पूछना था ना मुझे थोड़ा सा मैं आई वाज गोइंग थ्रू व्हाट यू हैड टॉट लाइक काल ज्ञान और ना ये उपदेश सारम के बारे में जब आया था ना एक 4 स्टेप्स जो बाबा जी भी बोलते हैं जो मुझे कभी समझ नहीं आए थे जो अभी समझ आने लगे हैं शुद्ध भावना फिर उसके बाद आएगा निर्मल मन फिर निश्चल मन अच्छा मैं आपसे बड़ा फ्रैंकली एक बात समझने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ कि शुद्ध भावना मैं फील करती हूँ बाय लॉट ऑफ इंट्रोस्पेक्शन एंड रिफ्लेक्शन एंड अ बिट ऑफ अवेयरनेस नाउ आई थिंक जो मैं शुद्ध भावना होती है ना जैसे कि फेकनेस नहीं रखनी जो जो पॉइंट्स आपने उसमें एक्सप्लेन किए थे ये नहीं करना झूठ नहीं बोलना ये नहीं कई चीजें उसमें मुझे लगता है शुद्ध भावना और निर्मल मन कंपैशन है ना शायद तो आया है पर प्योरिटी ऑफ माइंड बट निश्चल मन निश्चलता कम हुई है थॉट्स ड्यूरिंग रूटीन no worries not like that anxiety nahi fear nahi those kind of things have gone but when it comes to sitting in meditation and sitting in being I should say and things like that वो step जब हम कहते हैं ना कि वो उस that leads to that but वो निश्चलता अभी नहीं आई है मतलब कुछ हद तक आई है first 2 steps मुझे नहीं लगता I have a problem मतलब by deeply thinking about
don't go by steps don't go by steps I've never taught by steps anything वो कई सारी चीज आपने बोला आपने सिखा मैंने सिखाया नहीं कभी मैंने कभी बोला नहीं झूठ नहीं बोलना आपने बोला झूठ नहीं बोलना
नहीं झूठ नहीं वो तो मैं गलती से बोल दिया नहीं वो आपने नहीं
गलती से झूठ बोल दिया आपने
नहीं गलती से मैंने मतलब बोल दिया कुछ जिसका अनअवेयरनेस में
इसलिए
बोल दिया,
वही मैं बोलता हूँ,
अवेयरनेस
अवेयरनेस में बोलना चाहिए ना आपको।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी। अच्छा, तो मैं पूछ रही थी जैसे कि ऐसा कुछ प्योरिटी है, प्योरिटी ऑफ माइंड है, पर निश्चलता एज़ सच नहीं है। विषय वासना कम है ऑब्वियसली बहुत।
नहीं, ये सब इतना कंफ्यूज मत कीजिए, ये सब वन लीडिंग टू अदर, स्टेप बाय स्टेप है। शुद्ध भावना से निर्मल मन आता है, निर्मल मन से इट लीड्स टू निश्चल मन। शुद्ध भावना यानी प्योरिटी ऑफ इंटेंशन। जब आपका इंटेंशन बहुत प्योर है, प्योर है, प्योर है, हर चीज में आप देख रेख के करते हो, कोई चीज में छल कपट नहीं, कोई मैनिपुलेशन नहीं, when you are doing it from that zone, complete pure intention, it leads eventually to the purification of the mind, which is called nirmal man. That means you start attaining purity. See, after that is very clear, जब आप प्योर हो जाते हो, ये मन की चंचलता इम्प्योरिटी से आती है। द मोर यू हैव फ्लक्चुएशन, जिसके मन में ज्यादा थॉट्स है उतनी इम्प्योरिटी है उसके अंदर। दैट्स अ स्ट्रेट इक्वेशन। द मोर द थॉट्स, रेस्टलेसनेस ऑफ द माइंड जस्ट इंडिकेट्स इम्प्योरिटी ऑफ द माइंड। लॉट ऑफ इम्प्योरिटी। इम्प्योरिटी मतलब गंदे थॉट्स उतना ही नहीं है, लॉट ऑफ अनवांटेड थॉट आल्सो इज कॉल्ड इम्प्योरिटी। सो उसको क्लीन करना अगर है, तो उसको साफ करना है, तो बोलते हैं कि शुद्ध भावना आते ही वो सारे चीजें रिप्लेस होने लगती है। बिकॉज इट्स वेरी सिंपल, इफ यू हैव गुड इंटेंशंस विथ एवरीथिंग, all those ashuddha bhavana is nothing but that what you're telling, impurities of the mind। जो बोलते हैं ना जिसको हम चंचल करता है, what is the cause that is चंचल? It is this same अशुद्ध भावना ही अशुद्धता को जागृत करता है और वो फिर निश्चल बना देता है। So these are not steps where you have to focus on, मुझे इसको निश्चल करना है। आप निश्चल नहीं कर सकते मन को, इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू निश्चल करना। निश्चल करने की प्रक्रिया तो उससे प्रीसीडिंग क्या है, निर्मल करना पड़ेगा आपको। निर्मल करते ही ऑटोमेटिकली निश्चल हो जाता है। विशाल मन छोड़ी, वो तो आगे की बात है, लेकिन निर्मल कैसे करें, हाउ टू प्यूरिफाई, दैट इज उससे प्रीसीडिंग क्या है, शुद्ध भावना बोल रहे हैं। अब शुद्ध भावना कैसे करें, दैट शुड बी आवर क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि वन लीड्स टू द अदर ना। एंड यू कैन डायरेक्टली गो टू निश्चल मन। अगर आप कह रहे हो कि मेरा अभी मन निश्चल नहीं हुआ है, यू कैन नॉट डायरेक्टली मेक इट निश्चल। सारा पूरा प्रैक्टिसेस, पूरा स्पिरिचुअल प्रैक्टिस आर ऑल द अटेम्प्ट्स टू मेक इट साइलेंट, एंड दे आर ऑल फेलिंग। You cannot directly enter the mind and still it, calm it. Why it is not able to calm, we have to understand. Why it is not calm? Because there are a lot of impurities. Now, how to clear the impurities? You have to go have good intention. Now, how to have good intention? That's the question. For good intention, you need to have a sharp awareness. What is intention? मेरे मन में जो सोच आ रहा है, इंटेंशन भाव आ रहा है, मुझे मालूम ही नहीं, अशुद्ध भाव है। उसको पकड़ेगा कौन? अवेयरनेस। अशुद्ध भाव आते ही इसको पकड़ने के लिए मेरी अवेयरनेस, जागरूकता होनी चाहिए। तो वो जागरूकता है तो तुरंत उसको पकड़ेगा, उस चीज को ऑब्जर्व करेगा, रिप्लेस कर देगा, अशुद्ध भावना को शुद्ध भावना में कन्वर्ट करेगा ऑल द टाइम। तो शुद्ध भावना होने के लिए अवेयरनेस होना बहुत आवश्यकता है। इफ दे आर अनकॉन्शियस, दे कैन नॉट इवन थिंक ऑफ हैविंग शुद्ध भावना, बिकॉज कब अशुद्ध है हमको पता ही नहीं चलता। कितने सारे सोच हम सोचते हैं, अभी कहीं जाना है, किसी को कुछ बोलना है, किसी को कुछ देना है, अच्छा चलो किसी को आज हेल्प करना है, किसी ने बोला हेल्प करना है, तो ओके आई विल गो एंड हेल्प। लेकिन अगर अवेयरनेस नहीं है तो वो क्वेश्चन भी नहीं आएगा कि व्हाई आई वांट टू हेल्प। आई विल अनकॉन्शियसली गो एंड हेल्प एंड थिंक आई हैव डन हैव सम हेल्प। क्या पता उसके पीछे मेरा ईगो होगा, उसके इंटेंशन में ये कुछ ऐसा होगा कि अभी मैं हेल्प किया तो इसको कल मुझे ये वापस हेल्प करेगा। कुछ भी हो सकता है, छल कपट हो सकता है। तो इसको पकड़ेगा कौन? इंटेंशन को। ये अवेयरनेस ही पकड़ता है। तो इंटेंशन जो है, भावना अगर शुद्ध करना है तो उसके लिए जागरूकता होना बड़ा जरूरी है। दैट्स व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग, इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम देयर। यू हैव अवेयरनेस, awareness keeps scanning your bhavana all the time. As you scan your bhavana all the time, it's eventually starts becoming better and good bhavana, शुद्ध भावना। वो भावना शुद्ध होते अपने आप मन निर्मल होना शुरू होता है। मन निर्मल होती अपने आप निश्चलता आती है। You don't have to work individually on all these areas. By the way, अभी तक spirituality सिर्फ शुद्ध भावना, शुद्ध भावना, शुद्ध भावना करती है। But what we are talking here is beyond that, which I don't want to confuse now. People who are doing deeper studies and deeper practices of self-inquiry and all that will understand that you have to, ये भाव भी नहीं चलेगा वहाँ पे, it's भावातीतम, भाव भी पीछे छोड़ना पड़ेगा. I'll give you one example of a very mature soul that I met there, American lady, elderly. She was sitting there. She had come for the session. She's just sitting there. She's not even doing the practices. So we are doing toe, this, that, and some are gone into deep this, some are trying. I'm looking at her, her eyes is open. She's looking at me. All those 4 hours, she just sat there. Old lady. We will not be able to sit that long. I thought maybe it's her wish. Maybe she's not interested or whatever, but let her be there. And in the end, when somebody was saying that it is too late and that this, I said that lady never felt anything there. Then break ke samay, I went and talked to her. She was a very humble lady. When I talked to her, she started very excitedly talking. I said about the process. I asked where she lives. She said, I live near the hill only, Arunachalam. And I said, what do you do? She said, I'm not able to do anything. That's the problem. I feel lost. I asked why. I don't know. A lot of things are not happening anymore. See, everybody's content problem is this only. Anywhere I go, this only. पहले ये करते थे, अब नहीं हो रहा. पहले ये करते थे, अब नहीं हो रहा. उपदेश सारम किसी ने नहीं पढ़ा. Funnier thing. Because if you read the Upadesh Saram, you'll clear have the answers. Very crystal clear. It's okay not to do anything because you're. And then I said, what do you do then otherwise? She said, I just go to the hill. I look up at the hill and I can be there looking for hours. Sometimes I go up my house from the terrace, I watch the hill and tears flow. And while she was speaking, I could see love in her eyes, moist eyes. While she's speaking only, she's tearful. I could see devotion and love already activated. Now ऐसे जीते जागती व्यक्ति को जो all the time इस भाव में बैठी भी हो, सेशन में भी उस भाव में बैठी हो, she's sitting with devotion there. What else do we need to do? I said, ma'am, you don't need any practice. Her eyes swelled when she heard that. I said, this is already mentioned in many of the things. The state that you have, the devotion that you have, once it is activated, the object will drop. The object of your meditation will drop. But this faculty will get activated with bhava and love. That's something, and you have reached there. Then there's nothing much to do. You just got to be merging in that. She was so liberating for her to listen to that at that age. And she thanked me a number of times. Not just that person, another person was there in 70 plus. So that person said, he personally came and met me after that. He said, I have something to ask you. And I have been in this dilemma for quite some time. If you can. I said, please ask, sir. What is it? Then he said, I came to Tiruvannamalai in the 1970s. For the first time, and he showed me a photograph when there was only Ramanashram, 2 bicycles, 1 bullock cart, and 2 huts in front of Ramanashram. एक हजाम का दुकान और एक चाय की दुकान, बस. Just all हरियाली. He showed me the photo. This is the time I came to Ramana. And he said, from that time, I've been so connected to this place. It never felt that it's Ramana's Samadhi. We always felt his presence. And he said, I sat sometimes for 8 to 10 hours in the Samadhi, in front of the Samadhi, with my back on the wall, meditating. All those things, intense activities. And then I saw everything is going off. I'm not able to meditate. Then I said, how do you feel now? He said, I have a feeling that we are already liberated now. From within, I feel it completely liberated, but I can't do any of the. And when I look at others who are doing, I feel guilty. So I explained this Upadesh Saram. He was happy to hear that. Then he said one more thing. Ramana's Samadhi was everything to me. The ashram was everything to me. And then one day what happened, I was standing in front of the ashram. And I was looking at the ashram and a thought came to me. After all, this also is just a stone building. And the moment that thought came to him, this is just another stone building, immediately the other part of him called the guilt came in. What do you mean? You left everything and came here for this samadhi, for this ashram. It meant everything to you, and today it's only a stone building. And he said, since that time I have not had peace. That guilt is bothering me. What's happening? Am I regressing back? I was smiling and telling him from one of the tattvas that this is also a heightened state of achievement, because the scripture of Arunachala very clearly explains the object of meditation. First, an object will appear in front of you. That is Arunachala, or your Ishta, or Shiva, or Shakti, idol, image, samadhi, guru, whatever. An object will always appear to lure you towards that devotion. So you will get attracted towards that. You will run towards it. And that's what brought you to Tirunamale. That object, that hill, Ramana Samadhi. And then that object which is outside will get within you. That's the next step. It will get so deepened in your heart that you will be able to. He said, yes, I have always had that feeling, that thing inside. That's the purpose. So first that thing pulls you. When you go there, it starts internalizing. And that is where Ramana talks about the guru, the self and God are all one. Where he says, the outer guru will lead you to your inner guru. That is that stage. And when that happens from within, then something beautiful happens. One day, that object will drop. So I asked him, even if you feel that day you felt that and guilt came, what do you feel about the samadhi? What do you feel about Ramana? What do you feel about this place? He said, I'm immensely in love with this place and Ramana Samadhi. I love, but it's calling it a stone building. I said, that's what's happened. The object came in front, you lured, the object became inside, and then the object just dropped. Object dropped, but your devotion state. That is Nirlambha Yoga. Precisely this is how it happens. The object, the support just falls away, but you get enlightened there. And he was so happy to hear that, because he was thinking all the time that something is wrong with him. I said, it's achieved. Now you don't need a hill to activate your inner devotion, because you are already activated. You don't need a samadhi. Even that, yes, samadhi is a stone. Upadesh Saram, tomorrow you pick it up. Today it might be the holy scripture. Tomorrow it's just paper for you. A time will come when it's just paper. It has no other meaning. Samadhi is a stone building. Ashram is a stone building. And the hill is just another hill. It will come. That time also will come, where you won't differentiate between Arunachala hill and another hill which is behind your house. You won't differentiate between Ganga water and a gutter water. That's a stage where you see Shiva Tattva in everything, Shakti in everything, permeated in everything. The gutter water, where did it come from? It is all coming from the Shakti itself. So that stage, there is no, this is holy, that is not unholy, that's not duality. And I said, sir, your inner being is now telling you there's no differentiation between a holy samadhi and a stone building. That's beautiful. As far as your devotion is not, he's awakened, completely awakened, because he's having tears, he's having that blissfulness, he's settled down. So see, these are some tattvas which are deeper and deeper. As you go deeper, these truths will start. Everything goes. Now what will you say? People are scared to leave one path. People are scared to leave their so much of techniques and practices and this and that. And here, what are we talking about? Leaving the samadhi itself, leaving the hill itself, leaving your guru itself. How the guilt will take over? And if you see that's the natural way, it's going to happen. That's Nirlambha Yoga. See, practicality, practical examples coming in front, straight. So many people, some people have reached to good elevated states, but still the people around them won't allow them to settle in that high space. They will always find fault. Something is wrong with you. Why? Because they're doing, see the nonsense. The crowd around that person says that you are not doing your practice like before. You are doing so many things. And that makes him feel guilty. That lady also made her feel guilty. But she's saying, looking at Arunachala, my eyes swell up. But her whole world is telling, you're not doing like before. And what about that example that I gave about meeting that sannyasi, that young girl on top? She's also saying the same. I was running around everything, but now it's not happening. So three people of very close to Arunachal only, I had to convince them that's a natural state. And now you can see what's happening. It's a mass confusion. It's a mass problem. This problem is everywhere. And when I speak on this live and when I speak, people write to me from inside. Oh, that's so relieving when you say it's okay. It's okay to drop. Because people don't want to drop anything. They want to hold on to everything. Even the guru also they will take and go with them. Their family they will take and go. Their cars and building also they want to take and go with them. What nonsense. That's coming from that not understanding the objective and the truths of spirituality. Why we are not understanding? We don't have the guts to stand there and listen to truths. Whenever somebody is speaking the truth, you get triggered. You want to run away into your own hideout and caves and comfort zones, and they want to stay there. And then they are the people who will complain nothing is happening. Who can save you? Nobody can save you. Anyways, Ira, I debated, but I think you have got the point. What you were. Is there anything else? शुद्ध भावना से कहाँ तक चला गया? Ira is frozen, I think. Okay. With this, I think we are clear on this. If there are any questions or anything, you can keep it to the next session. We will attend it from there. I'm so sorry, but I couldn't get the volume at all, even after multiple attempts. Abha, are you there on WhatsApp here? Yeah, I can see you. You are in the US, right? Now. Okay, let me just send you. I'll send you the YouTube link so you can see it from there. Okay, so that answers everything and everybody's settled here. So I'll take a leave for today and we'll come back again. I don't know when. I'll let you know. I'll update you. And today I was a little sunk down in my own this because I came traveling and all that, reached little late. So I'm still in that mode. I got to get some good sleep also today. Your earlier pictures of your visit to Arunachala have made my interest in your sessions. Thank you. You're most welcome, Ashaji. You're most welcome. I'm telling this earlier because if anybody wants to book it random because later on you will not get your flights. And this time we have a good Singapore crowd coming. And some other countries, I think US also, UAE also. Most welcome. Whoever wants to come, most welcome. Just confirm it in some manner so that you know the room things are only are concerned. It's not about the seats that we can arrange. It's just the rooms. And we are just trying to keep the rooms in both the buildings aside so that you don't have to come from far also. You're most welcome. Arunachal always welcomes you. So I'll take your leave. Much divine love and light to all of you. May we all evolve. May we all be blessed. Have a blessed night. Stay blessed.